The Royal Pit. Over 4,500 years ago, when a king of Ur died, he didn't go into the ground alone. He was buried with a massive entourage of royal servants, maids, and guards. Archaeologists originally thought these servants willingly drank poison to join their king, but modern CT scans of their skulls revealed a much darker truth. Many skulls show severe blunt force trauma from spike-like weapons. The servants were systematically knocked unconscious or killed via a blow to the head, dragged into the pit, and buried alive alongside the royal corpse. Vicarious punishment. Written nearly 3,800 years ago, the Code of Hammurabi featured a brutal concept called vicarious punishment. If a contractor built a house poorly and the house collapsed and killed the homeowner's son, the law didn't execute the builder who made the mistake. Instead, the government arrested the builder's completely innocent son and put him to death to balance out the family tragedy. Amputation gamble. Surgery in the year 1750 BCE was a terrifying gamble for doctors. Under Babylonian law, if a surgeon performed a major operation on a wealthy noble using a bronze scalpel and the patient died on the table, or if the doctor opened a tumor near the eye and accidentally caused permanent blindness, the legal penalty was immediate. The state would physically chop off both of the surgeon's hands with a blade, instantly ending their career and leaving them disabled. Infected wounds. Around 3,500 years ago, Mesopotamian medical practices relied heavily on magic. Doctors believed physical illnesses and infections were caused by invisible, malevolent demons invading the human body. To force these spirits out, doctors tried to make the patient's body as repulsive a host as possible. Medical tablets from this era show that open wounds, gashes, and infections were regularly packed with foul mixtures of dog poop, human urine, and rotten milk to literally stink the demon out. Unfortunately, these practices all failed. The annual bride auction. During the Neo-Babylonian period around 2,500 years ago, women had very little autonomy. Once a year, every village held a mandatory public auction for young women of marriageable age. They were lined up in the marketplace while a crowd of local men bid gold to buy the most beautiful women as wives. The money raised from selling the attractive women was then used as a mandatory cash pool to pay poorer men to marry the women who were deemed physically unattractive or disabled. The trial by river. While this practice is famously associated with medieval Europe, the Mesopotamians actually did it first. Dating back over 4,000 years to the oldest known legal codes, they had a brutal way of settling witchcraft accusations. They tossed you into the raging Euphrates River to let a river act as judge. If you drowned, you were deemed guilty, but if you managed to swim out, you were declared innocent. The bird monster. Ancient religious texts like the Epic of Gilgamesh show that Mesopotamians lived in absolute dread of the afterlife. They believed that regardless of whether you were a good person, a king, or a criminal, everyone went to the exact same pitch-black underground realm called Irkalla. In this underworld, human souls permanently transformed into miserable, half-human, half-bird creatures that spent eternity sitting in total darkness, wearing feathers, eating dry dust, and drinking muddy clay water forever. The baby-eating demoness. Around 3,000 years ago, Mesopotamian parents lived in fear of Lamashtu, a rogue goddess with a lion's head and eagle talons who supposedly slipped into homes at night to steal and slaughter newborns. In reality, this terrifying myth was a desperate psychological coping mechanism for a brutal historical truth: staggering infant mortality rates and sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS. With no medical science to understand why a healthy baby would tragically pass away in their sleep, grieving families personified their worst nightmares into an unstoppable monster. Facial branding. Slaves in ancient Babylon were legally classified as chattel, meaning they had the exact same rights as cows or sheep. To prevent them from escaping into the crowded city streets, masters used red-hot branding irons to burn the owner's name directly into the slave's forehead or hands. If a slave attempted to run away, the standard legal punishment was having both of their ears sliced off, and any barber who helped a slave shave off their brand faced immediate hand amputation. Flaying walls. Around 2,800 years ago, the Neo-Assyrian Empire used extreme visual warnings to stop conquered cities from rebelling. When a city revolted against them, the Assyrian army would capture the rebel leaders and remove their skin. They would then stretch these skins out and plaster them across the city's exterior walls or drape them over large pillars right outside the main gates. Anyone walking by would see these displays immediately, creating a permanent and terrifying reminder of what happened to anyone who challenged the empire's rule. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up and subscribe.